The author of 6 chapbooks, The Angel Notebook is his first full-length publication. He is currently working on a collection entitled The Gambler's Notebooks. On a personal note, ladies and gentlemen, I think his writing is fantastic, and I think he's done a tremendous amount for the Toronto poetry scene. Put your hands together for Luciano Iacobelli.
Thank you, Val. About 7 years ago, around this time, a friend of ours named Saro D'Agostino passed away. So I'm going to read from the Angel Notebook. I will read this elegy to Saro. How many of you knew Saro here? I know there's quite a few people that were associated with him. I seldom read this poem, but I thought it would be appropriate because his death occurred around this time. Unfinished saint in a suit. Sorrow, you said the soul is made of puns. The dreams, the many nights we sat up talking philosophy. You said Schopenhauer believed we should all greet each other as fellow sufferer. And you said overcome. Dismantle the I, dismantle desire, the self disappears. No you, no I, no sorrow, no sorrow. Was your inner voice intact when you were dying? Were you a guest at your own death? All that stored up knowledge, years of philosophy, or had you perfected absence? White. On white paper you wrote, death is the mother of beauty. You wrote it in a poem. You were quite articulate, even when drugged and drunk and stealing from Wallace Stevens. You firmly believed narrative was truth in a straitjacket, but you told good stories anyway. But you never finished your novel, never finished your life. How does a man who so loved love, so loved words, die? And does he inwardly comment on his death while he's dying, with all his love of words linguifying, liquefying his final moments? Was your inner voice intact? Or was its absence perfected? You articulated beautifully the disease of your soul, the black birds, the furies, and you knew Kierkegaard by heart, who said, all poets' lips are misshapen, distorting sighs and cries into beautiful sounds, no one to pity, to rescue them. You opened the window, just a little bit, the tiniest of summer breezes touching you. You lay on the couch, arms crossed over the chest, waiting for the drugs to kill the disease. You opened the window, just a little breeze, one last comfort, so uncomfortable you. When Lees found you, your arms were stiff over your chest. Found 2 last letters on the coffee table. You loved words. You loved words. You loved philosophy. You loved friends, drugs, jazz. You loved wine, gambling, loved Greece, Italy, loved words. You loved strangers, and addicts showed up at your house in the rain, and you let them in. That night, the boys were playing poker in your kitchen. A totally nude woman, whore, junkie, showed up at your door as if the rain had concocted her, and you let her in quite casually. Introduced her to your friends quite casually, as if the rain always sent you drugged or raped women, as if the rain were saying, here, fellow sufferer, take one of mine. All this love of love did not cure your disease, the dark, palpable desire to end desire. You liked to lose, down to the bare white, the zero, white on white, arms crossed over the chest, 2 envelopes and a bottle of pills, and the window slightly open. One could see it slightly open days after you died. I remember the last good night we had. Memory you staged. We all walked a long walk through streets and alleys and parks to visit a poet turned priest. 5 of us, drunk, drinking from bottles, hidden in paper bags. It was a pilgrimage to a future eulogy. and Peter picked up an apple from the ground, aimed it at a school wall, but instead broke a window, and we quickly walked away, surprised how windows break so easily. Peter said it was Nietzsche's birthday that night, and you explained, drunk but clear, eternal recurrence, how a life loops endlessly. So it's important to get the first story right. It will be repeated. Was the story right? We're telling it now, how you opened the window and let the breeze in, you crossed your arms and lay on the couch, listening to your favorite jazz, 2 letters on the coffee table, and in my house, your unfinished painting. A saint in a suit standing in front of an elevator. A feminine head, halo, flowers in hands and pockets. An incomplete picture covered in words. Absent colors written in pen.